when we were solving our inequalities, we saw that solving an inequality is basically exactly the same thing as solving an equation. But there is one little wrinkle in it that we are going to have to know about. So let's take a look at that by solving this particular problem. So if I go through and I start solving this the same way as if it were just an equal sign in here, because basically I can just treat it the same way, the first thing I would need to do is move the 5 to the other side. So I'd subtract 5 from both sides for that reason. And now I have negative 2x is less than or equal to 6. And so I now need to get rid of the negative 2. The negative 2 is being multiplied by x, so I divide both sides by negative 2. The problem, though, is the answer is not x is less than or equal to negative 3. Even though we did all of our steps right about what we're doing on both sides, there is one little thing that's off. Because the actual answer is that x should be greater than or equal to negative 3. And so the reason is because anytime you multiply or divide both sides of an equation by a negative number, it tells us that we actually have to flip the inequality symbol. You never have to worry about with equations because, of course, if you flip an equal sign around, it still looks exactly the same. But the inequality symbols, it does matter. Now, this rule only comes up when you multiply or divide. So if you add or subtract a negative on both sides, that's okay. But if we multiply or divide both sides by a negative, that's where you're going to have to flip your inequality symbol. So with that rule in mind, let's go and work just one more example here. So here we have a new inequality. 14 is less than 8 minus 3x. Let's go ahead and solve. Remember, we can basically treat it just as a regular old equation. The only thing that we have to do, though, is that we got to remember that if I actually end up multiplying or dividing both sides by a negative, I'm going to have to flip that inequality symbol. But the rest, nothing else is different. So in this case, then, I want to get rid of any addition or subtraction first, which would mean getting rid of the 8, because it's 8 minus 3x. But notice that the 8 here is positive. The minus is being applied to the 3x. And so since the 8 is positive, I'm actually going to need to subtract 8 from both sides. Then I have 6 is less than negative 3x. That on the right side is negative 3 times x. So if I want to get x by itself, I'm going to have to divide both sides by that negative 3. Now, as soon as I see that, I'm saying I'm dividing by a negative. That should be kind of that little red flag moment that tells you, okay, I'm dividing by a negative. Therefore, when I do that, I need to flip that sign. I need to flip the inequality symbol so that it faces the opposite direction. So you notice my less than from the start became a greater than at the end when I divided both sides by the negative. Otherwise, all the math works the same. I still did 6 divided by negative 3 to get the negative 2.